All right, so what the fuck was that? This whole Venom thing. Here's my problem. Venom in the Venom films doesn't know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. So why did he get sucked over to our universe or to Peter Parker's universe when it was only supposed to be people that knew Peter Parker was Spider-Man?
Well, I mean, there's the end of the film, the Venom film too, but no.
Well, he gets sucked over. That's what I didn't understand.
Yeah.
It's like, but they establish that I think he knows there's a Spider-Man because because he says that thing in New York, but that was Eddie Brock. You know what I mean? Venom would have known that. So it's my understanding that he doesn't know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. And that's why they separated the two, because they weren't going to combine them. That's why he was out in San Francisco. So I have issues with that. Now, I think it's funny that Venom left a little snot on the bar, which, of course, is one of those foreshadowy things that could go terribly wrong if they actually tried to make it work. But how about the second credit scene, which is barely a credit scene? Oh, my God.
What was that? Preview?
Yeah. Holy shit.
Which is awesome.
Oh, yeah, right? And people are still going to listen to this. And yes, we're spoilering stuff. There's 2 credit scenes in Spider-Man No Way Home. A mid-credit scene and an end credit scene.
Yeah, and
we're talking about the end credit scene.
Yes, because the mid-credit scene is not exciting.
No, it's actually pretty lame. But you see it coming because of films that have gone before.
Well, yes, but
because of Venom.
But if it had ended on that,
well, that would have been terrible. Well, and I thought it was great because was it Steve Sales or was it Scott that said, "Let's not talk about the movie we just watched. Let's talk about the movie we all want to see."
I think it was Sean. Yeah.
And it's like, yeah. I mean, and that's sad because that really does almost overshadow all the good that's in No Way Home.
Well, it does and it doesn't, because I mean,
well, it expands on it.
Yeah.
And it expands on WandaVision, and it expands on it expands on Loki.
Well, it's the first indication of what might come.
Right.
That feels substantial. Rather, and to be honest with you, I don't know that we learned that much other than the fact that we've got something to look forward to.
Yes.
Which, I mean, there's nothing to complain about that.
No.
But
something that looks good. That
awesome.
They could release that as the trailer. And people would be eating that shit up with a spoon.
I wanted to be able to see that a second time.
Oh, I know, right?
Right. Can you just replay that one more time?
Yeah, just rewind.
Just go back and just do it. Go ahead.
Yeah.
All right.
So that was just so good. I liked and again, we're spoilering stuff here, so just turn it off if you don't want to hear this crap. I liked the way that Toby and Andrew kind of helped focus Tom's grief and uncertainty, because even though they weren't the same.
No, but there's this idea that that's still him,
right?
Certain, you know what I mean? Like, if you existed over in a variety of places, and your life's experiences were different, but fundamentally you're still you.
Yeah.
Just a certain extent. So
it's interesting. The whole May thing. It's like, oh, they gave her that line.
Yeah. Well, they, eventually, and there's a reason for that.
And there's a reason for that. But once again, Willem Dafoe is the best Spider-Man villain.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Michael Keaton was great as Vulture.
He's close.
Willem Dafoe is still I mean, no, hands down, still the best Spider-Man villain that Sony has managed to put on screen. I love Alfred Molina as Doc Ock. I love that. I love that Doc Ock.
Sure.
Willem Dafoe as fucking Norman Osborn is just he might be the best Marvel villain that has been put on screen. And we've had Thanos. Unless you give me a quality Galactus at this point, I don't know that there's going to be, I don't know. Willem Dafoe might be the best Marvel villain they've put on screen.
Well, yeah, and I think, I mean, you've got who are the possibilities, and I mean, I guess maybe a Doctor Doom could potentially be, but even then, there's something about Green Goblin and the story and the dynamic, the insanity, the way that Willem Dafoe's performance is so nuanced.
I know
that as an audience member, we know more than we because, well, for those of us who watch the movies and things, we know the mannerisms of the split personality, and so the audience is in the unique position of knowing more about a scene than the actual characters in that scene do sometimes. Yeah. And that's kind of fun.
Yeah. It's like, no, because that's coming the whole time. You're just waiting for it. You just waiting for it, and then you're like, there it is. Yeah. I mean, and it's so subtle that even the Spidey sense can't lock on it. And I think that's a nice touch. I mean, that tells you how much in control the Green Goblin actually is. Yeah. A lot of times, even when he's not out front. So, but again, it's not a stretch at all to say that he's the best Spider-Man villain, but you can argue, I would be willing to debate someone that he might be the best Marvel villain we've seen on screen yet. Everyone comes out of Marvel movies going, yeah, Marvel has a villain problem. So you know who doesn't have a villain problem? Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And
not until the third film.
Don't even get me started.
Anyway, but
it's just he's back. He was back, and I was just like, oh my god, it's Willem Dafoe is the best whatever he is in that movie. In whatever movie he's in, you're like, yep, he's the best detective. You watch Boondocks, and it's like he's the best crazy FBI guy. Or he's the whatever he's in, he's the best that you've ever seen in your life. He's not won an Oscar yet. Am I right? Saying he somehow magically he has never won an Oscar? He might have.
That may be accurate. I'm not sure.
That is a crime if that is in fact.
No, he's a great actor. No question.
That is in fact the case. References 215. I just really want to know. It's like I really want to know. Does he have any awards? Nominated for 4 Oscars: Platoon, Shadow of the Vampire, Florida Project, and At Eternity's Gate. Nominee. He won a Saturn Award. He won an Atlanta Film Critics Circle Award. Austin Film Critics. All this for Florida Project. And he's won other stuff, but it's just like, it's like, oh my God, how has he not won? Has he been nominated for Golden Globe at least? Golden Derby, Golden Globes, nominee. What about SAG? Has SAG at least? Screen Actors, nominee. Wow. That's just really wrong. In so many ways. No, that's just crazy. But no, the preview of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, that was an insane include. I was shocked that just kept going and going. I was like,
I thought it was going to be the initial scene.
Yeah, right.
Just the one initial approach and conversation, and then no.
The only thing that bothers me, the only thing that that gives me any pause about that at all is the fact that it seems to tie into What If. And that disturbs me because I don't know that we need to go that far. I didn't mind that version of Strange, but I think that's trying to tie it to What If, and that opens up doors that I don't think we need to open. I think that's too much. Unless you're going to dedicate something to TV, in which case, why bother linking it in the film? So, but it will be interesting to watch Benedict Cumberbatch face off against Benedict Cumberbatch at some point in that film, I think. So, but yeah, that's really, really interesting. This was not, by the way, this audio is not going to go anywhere until Wednesday of next week.
Right.
I'm not even going to put it out this weekend. It's like, no. It'll go out next week.
All right. And I would, I think this, like for me, the moment that Andrew Garfield, who has been insistent that he was not in this movie.
Well, he has to be.
Well,
they have to be insistent.
But it's, but he's Tom Holland has a reputation for blowing things, which that is, that's been blown out. It's
not a reputation, a little bit. True.
Well, it's true-ish.
True.
But I do think I don't think he's necessarily the worst of all time. I think it's kind of become a joke with him. But to watch Andrew Garfield actually have some decent material.
I need to go back and rewatch it because he's like really, really. I mean, I understand it's post Gwen death, but he's really, really not just negative, but he seems really wimpy emotionally.
I don't know.
Maybe I'll see it again. But I mean, that's why I said, and plus I need to go back and look. It could just be his mannerisms.
I'd see, because I thought he actually was allowed to bring just a sense of something to the character, a human aspect that he wasn't really ever given in the other films. I mean, I did like that they all had their own poses from their films. Oh yeah, which was great, and I loved the discussion about web shooters. Yeah. What are those? How does that happen? What are you? No, I don't want to talk about that. Yeah, no, I don't want to talk about it. Did you ever have web blockage? Anyway, yeah, that was some great. But yes, and you're amazing. I just thought that was. Yes, it's like you are amazing. But there's just because I loved Andrew Garfield as an actor before when he got the role, and I was so excited. It was like I was broken up in the sense that they should have made a fourth with Toby. Right. But if I were to have cast, recast, I would have done exactly what they did, and then to have him be in movies that were so lackluster that retread so much with lesser results, it was kind of devastating. So for me to get to see him in a film where he got to act and be I don't know, it was that to me was a reminder of everything I wanted the Amazing Spider-Man films to be, and everything that they ended up not really being. And I'll be honest, when he goes back to his universe, he's going to be much better off because they fixed all the villains, and then he fixed himself to a great extent. Yeah. Oh, and you see that was just a beautiful scene to watch. But if you don't, but if you don't know what that is. I mean, that scene in particular is, when I say, why is that guy crying? Well, that's the scene. Why is that guy crying? That doesn't make sense. It's like, well, actually, he just did what he couldn't do before, and it's a real emotional moment for him. I mean, he's reliving something.
Yeah, and they made the joke about not having Miles Morales without saying Miles Morales.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
Which I don't know who they're going to cast to be Miles Morales. So, but at least we do get 2 more Into the Spider-Verse films. So at least we get more Miles Morales.
They will, and it's going to happen. Hopefully Sony doesn't botch that thing up. But
right.
Anyway,
Yeah. So, all right, that's all we'll talk about on Spider-Man. But no, it's just so hard to talk about because so much of it is a spoiler, even if you're not talking story points.
Sure, and we didn't even discuss. There's a character, a lawyer character.
I know. That was the most cameo of all the people. He was a cameo, and that's it. That was just Marvel going, this is your Daredevil, and everyone's happy about that because that's our Daredevil.
It is our Daredevil.
It is our Daredevil. Charlie Cox. Yeah. That's our Daredevil.
Yeah.
Whoever owns, I guess it's Marvel. Marvel would have been stupid. I mean, now at some point, Punisher has to show back up, but the problem I think there is Bernthal already said is he didn't want to play some wussified Punisher. So unless they let Punisher Deadpool, I don't know that they'll have to recast Punisher.
I think Punisher. I think Punisher is a tricky character that is hard to fit into.
Yes, but if Disney's going to have a Punisher, Bernthal's right. It needs to be the Punisher.
Yes,
and so it's like, do you put the Punisher and Deadpool in one little side universe? Yeah,
I have no idea.
Not together, obviously, but just kind of compartmentalized. I don't know, but I agree. I don't want Bernthal to play a watered down Punisher. I don't. I mean, bring me Image Comics. What was when Image Comics came out? There was one hero who went after the villains, and I cannot remember the name of the guy. I say hero, the main character. He broke criminals' backs so that they could live with their guilt. And it's like, that's freaking dark. I mean, that's like Punisher level dark. And it's like, so you won't ever see that in a Disney Marvel movie or Image movie, I guess. But
maybe.
But that literally was his modus operandi. He captured the villain, broke their back, and let them live with their guilt. So it's like, you have to think on that kind of level if you're going to have a Punisher film. And like I said, I'll be interested to see how they tie that one up. Yes, it was nice to see Charlie Cox. How did you do that? I'm an excellent lawyer.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, you are. You're an excellent.
And again, that's one of those moments where the audience goes, we know.
And unless you watch Daredevil, So, but that does confirm the existence, which I'm sure we will get in, or we already. It's been all but confirmed in Hawkeye that we will get D'Onofrio as Kingpin, who is again not a Disney type villain, and he might be the character that's been put in an actual Marvel production that might give Dafoe a run for his money as a villain. Maybe.
I ain't going there yet.
You're not going there yet? I know Dafoe's still at the top, but if I'm going to pick one out of who we have, I'll at least let D'Onofrio get in the ring with him as a villain. I will pay to watch that fight and not be surprised if I lose. But we've all but confirmed that we get D'Onofrio back. So it's like, I'm liking where we're headed. As long as Sony doesn't screw up their side and that Disney doesn't screw up re-giving me my Fantastic Four. So I almost want them to make a Doom movie and then introduce the Fantastic Four at the end of it.
Well, yeah.
I think that might be an interesting approach, to make a bad guy movie and then introduce the Fantastic Four at the end, but not to defeat him, to just say that they're there and now this is going to be a conflict going forward. It doesn't have to be Doom takes over the world, but they could make a Doom movie where he's not captured, but you see all of his villainous stuff up to. So it's the villainous prequel.
Well, I
Before
almost
we
would
get to
say
our
you
heroes.
I would almost say don't make him a villain. Make him overly ambitious.
Well, that's what he
'Cause
started as, and then he got
it's
things. But yeah,
I mean, I don't think he thinks of himself as a villain any more than Thanos does.
no, he's a benevolent dictator
You know,
in his head.
I was going to say, which
In his
may
head.
or may not actually be, but hey, you know, but yeah.
So
Oh,
yeah,
no.
it'll be interesting. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Sony, don't screw it up. Marvel, don't screw up the bits that you have to that still bring us forward. Don't screw those up either. So cool, brother. All right. So I'm gonna watch.